Look at this. This is the level of sickness we're seeing online right now. Somebody actually posted, whoever shot Charlie Kirk, thank you.
Since I've got so much of MAGA's attention right now, I just want to ask you guys a question. Is your hatred towards people like me worth your poverty?
Okay, let's get something clear. Nobody deserves to die for their political opinion. Charlie Kirk did not deserve to die for having a political opinion. Now, I don't agree with him. I'm sure a lot of you don't agree with him. It doesn't mean he deserved to die. But I really want you to ask yourself this question. Who had the most to gain from Charlie Kirk's murder?
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Nurses cheering murder. Doctors toasting death. Who's really got your back?
Guys, let me begin with this. Charlie Kirk's death is tragic. No matter where you stand politically, a family has lost their son, a community has lost a voice, and loved ones are grieving. That pain deserves respect. I offer my condolences to his family because no one should have to go through this. But I need to address something uncomfortable. There are people online actually celebrating his death. And to those people, I say, stop. You don't have to agree with Charlie. You don't have to support his politics. But celebrating death makes you no better than the cruelty you claim to oppose. Death should never be entertainment. It should never be, a political win. At the same time, Republicans are showing their own hypocrisy, exploiting this tragedy, demanding accountability they've never shown for others, and turning grief into a weapon. Both extremes are wrong.
Breaking news, MAGA has created a new website called Charlie's Murderers, which is a database they are using to collect and harvest anybody's social media presence where people may have said bad things about Charlie Kirk, because in their view, the one person who took Charlie's life isn't the only suspect. Everybody is a suspect, and this is just a way for MAGA and Stephen Miller and Trump's FBI to put more and more of their enemies on a list so they can track people and go after political rivals. This is an extremely dangerous escalation, a major escalation by the right at this moment, by MAGA.
Conservatives are now up in arms that a Clemson student was handing out flyers mocking Charlie Kirk. This person even went as far as saying that we need to defund Clemson University because of the actions of one student. How crazy is that? Here's what the flyer said. As you can tell, they're very disrespectful, but the thing is, we live in the United States where we have what's called free speech. But the guy who posted this is saying, this is the culture Clemson's professors are instilling in their students, so we need to defund them. The reality is, every time someone on the left crosses the line, the right loves to amplify it and say that all Democrats think this way. Meanwhile, their own side has mocked the unaliving of George Floyd for multiple different years now and spread misinformation about him. They also laughed and made fun of Nancy Pelosi's husband when he almost lost his life to a deranged MAGA guy with a hammer.
Republicans on social media and on Fox News are now declaring war on Democrats and anybody that disagrees with them, advocating for rounding people up and arresting them in the wake of the shooting of Charlie Kirk and, of course, his subsequent passing. Now, before we even get into any clips of people like Jesse Waters saying that there needs to be some kind of revenge against Democrats for the shooting, I just want to start by saying that this is absolutely tragic. What happened to Charlie Kirk is heartbreaking. As you folks know, I have plenty of disagreements with Charlie Kirk, but now is not the time for politics. This is not left or right or center. It's nothing like that. This is a man who is leaving behind 2 little kids, a wife who loves him, and for that, I am heartbroken, and of course, neither Charlie Kirk nor his family deserve this. So I wanted to start by saying that because in these clips, you'll see a lack of humanity, and I'm asking, where is our humanity? So I'm going to display it, even if the Republicans and many of them on social media won't. But let's just start here with Jesse Waters, who went on this tirade following the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and it's just abhorrent. You have to see it for yourself to believe that it's real, but he actually said this live on Fox News. Take a look.
This hits differently because Charlie was one of us, and Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters, you got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point, and we know which direction we're going.
Incredibly inflammatory and incredibly irresponsible. Like, I appreciate the message from Jesse Waters saying, like, this is unacceptable, it can't happen again. But you heard throughout his speech there, he kept saying they. They are at war with us. They are committing political violence. Who's they?
This tragedy has brought out the worst from both sides. On one hand, some on the left are mocking and celebrating Charlie's death. They're making jokes, spreading memes, and treating his death as karma. That is cruel. It strips away the humanity of a young man who had a family, friends, and people who actually loved him. And it sends the wrong message that political disagreement justifies celebrating violence. That's not justice, that's hate. And if we want to rise above the ugliness of politics, that behavior has to be called out. But on the other hand, Republicans are turning this death into a political weapon. Jesse Waters declares they are at war with us. Nancy says Democrats own what happened that day. So here we are, stuck between two wrongs. One side mocking death, the other side exploiting it. And the people caught in the middle, Charlie's family. They deserve peace and not political games. Now, let's really break this down. First, Charlie Kirk's death is a loss. His family should be at the center of this conversation, not Twitter memes, not political narratives, not enemy list. They are grieving, and anyone who is human should respect that. That is why I have to call out those celebrating his death, because when you cheer at someone's death, you lose your moral ground. You become what you say you hate. Politics does not justify cruelty. Disagreement does not erase someone's humanity. And honestly, celebrating death only feeds the Republican narrative. It gives them the ammunition to say, look, they hate us so much. They cheer when we die. And sadly, they are not wrong about that part. We need to do better than that. But while some are celebrating, Republicans are exploiting, and their hypocrisy is, staggering. These are the same Republicans who mocked George Floyd's when he was unalived, the same ones who laughed at Nancy Pelosi's husband when he was attacked, the same ones who brushed off mass shootings with thoughts and prayers when others were in pain. They showed no compassion. They refused accountability. They even turned tragedies into jokes. But now, because it's one of their own, they demand sympathy. They lower flags. They create a website called, Charlie's Murderers to attack critics online. They want universities defunded because a student passed out a mocking flyer. Suddenly, free speech doesn't apply anymore. Suddenly, compassion matters. Suddenly, accountability is everything. Do you see the double standard? Free speech is sacred until it offends them. Death is a joke until it happens to them. Accountability is unnecessary until they demand it from others. That's not justice. It's hypocrisy. And here's where it gets more troubling. This isn't just about grief. It's about control. When Jesse Waters says they are at war with us, he isn't grieving, he's escalating. When Nancy Mace says Democrats own the murder, She isn't mourning, she's scoring political points. When Fox News pushes the liberal terrorist angle without evidence, they aren't reporting, they are manipulating. And that website, Charlie's Murderers, that's not about honoring Charlie. That's about silencing dissent. That's about punishing anyone who ever criticized him. That's about intimidation. But let's pause here, because both of these extremes, the people celebrating Charlie's death and the Republicans exploiting it, have one thing in common. They are erasing Charlie's humanity. One side erases it by mocking his death, the other erases it by using his death as a weapon. And in both cases, his family suffers. And this is why we need to rise above both sides' mistakes. We should condemn celebrating death. We should also condemn exploiting it, and we should demand a consistent standard. If we care about accountability, it has to apply to everyone. If we value compassion, it can't only be for people who shared our politics. If free speech matters, it has to matter when it offends us, not just when it protects us. Charlie Kirk's death should remind us of the fragility of life, not become another excuse for division. But unfortunately, Republicans are turning it into a rallying cry for war, and some on the left are turning it into a punchline. Both sides are failing. So here's the truth. Charlie's family deserves better than this. They deserve peace, not political theater. They deserve compassion, not cruelty. And we, as a society, should hold ourselves to a higher standard. Because if we can't mourn without mocking, if we can't grieve without exploiting, then we've lost more than Charlie. We've lost our humanity. Guys, drop a comment. Let me know. What are your thoughts? Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye-bye.